Welcome to Buzzed and Baffled, the podcast where the wine is flowing and the stories are strange.
Each week, we uncork a bottle, take a sip, and dive into some of the most jaw-dropping, unbelievable true tales you've never heard before.
From historical mysteries to bizarre real-life events, we'll have you wondering, is this for real?
So, grab your glass, sit back, and join us as we get buzzed and you get baffled.
Hey listeners, just a quick note before we dive in. Buzzed and Baffled is a podcast where we enjoy a glass of wine, share wild stories, and sometimes get a little, well, buzzed.
While we strive to share true and accurate tales, we're here for the entertainment as much as the facts. So take everything we say with a grain of salt and a splash of wine. Any opinions shared here are our own and do not reflect those of any other party.
Always drink responsibly and remember, the truth can be stranger than fiction. Alright, so we are here with episode 12, and we have a very special guest, our first guest.
Our first guest who's a friend of the pod.
Yep, kind of here against her will, I think, but...
I guess this is evidence that I can bully anyone into anything.
Yeah, we are being held hostage right now, actually, so...
None of you get to know what their code words are.
We don't even know what our code words are.
So we're going to introduce Lisa.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Lisa.
She is going to be our resident expert for this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this episode was written especially for this occasion.
Mm-hmm.
I did write it like a month and a half ago, so I had to reread it again to remember what I wrote.
This is how long it took us to convince her to show up. So we have to start with today's wine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, because today is pickleball themed, but there is no pickleball themed wine.
At least not in our small, tiny town.
Yeah. So I got a wine in a fish bottle because it's like, oh, that looks like pickled herring. And that is the closest I can get. It's called, and I'm going to say this wrong, we all know I'm going to. It's either Opici or Opici.
Opici.
Okay, Opici Vino Bianco. It's imported from the Adriatic coast. Oh, and it does not have a thing on the back.
There's nothing on the back.
But I did find it's a crisp, fruity white, and there's a description of it and a picture of the bottle, which is cute, and I'm going to keep it and use it for something else because I think it's adorable. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
And we've had this one before, not on the pod, but I got this a while ago because I thought the bottle was cool, and I was also going to keep the bottle and do something with it.
Here,
but then
take
I
a drink and tell us what you think.
Sick of looking at the bottle on my counter, so I got rid of it.
She's drinking peanut butter whiskey, so I'm sure this is a nice combination.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Is it crisp?
Mm-hmm. Nice.
It is a good one, yep.
It's nice and summery and bright.
Yep. Yeah, it's very bright. It says right on the gill here, crisp and citrusy.
This would be really good with a Cajun salmon or a Cajun whitefish.
I was thinking shrimp, but
Well, I mean, you'll have to tell me how that is because I'll never know.
Like a spicy Cajun shrimp, fresh off the grill.
Yep. I'll be like, I guess David would probably tell me I should try it, but... we should put out the rules of the room, Lisa. We try to avoid the words so and like. We keep saying we're going to get spray bottles, and whoever is talking, they're going to spray the other one when we say that.
Yeah. We're really bad about it. You literally just said so.
I was trying not to, but I couldn't help myself.
Okay, I think we're...
Yeah, she's going to flip me with what whiskey remains.
In your eye. Proof alcohol on the sclera.
Yep.
Your eyes are going to be beaten red by the time the pot is over.
I'm like, no, this is fine, guys. There's nothing wrong.
All right. So, let's dive in. I have titled this The Pickleball Swindler.
I'm an expert on pickleball. I can't wait to talk about the rules.
You're an expert on everything we talk about.
I'm a professional know-it-all.
Pickleball was invented in 1965 in Bainbridge Island, Washington, which I poked up. It's right across the water from Seattle.
And I noticed you put it on the U.S. map and not the world map like I tried to do last episode.
Yeah, I didn't try to find this small, tiny, little unmarked town on the world map that doesn't even show the water near Seattle.
Yeah.
So it was invented by friends Joel Pritchard, Barney McCollum, and Bill Bell.
So this was just kind of like, I'm assuming, in their like backyard. They're just like, let's do this.
Do you remember when I said if you knew what I was going to say, don't say it? It's going to be the theme of this pod. So it was invented because the families of the men were just like bored one Saturday afternoon, and they set up a badminton game. I think they were kind of like neighbors, but they couldn't find the shuttlecock, which you kind of need for the badminton game.
Sorry, I'm 10. I need to
Yeah, you are 10.
I said shuttlecock and I snorted.
So they experimented with equipment from different sports that they had, in the bins of their garages. Joel's wife, Joan Pritchard, is credited with naming the game after saying it reminded her of the pickle boat in the sport of rowing, which was made up of leftover rowers from other boats. So I think it was something where a bunch of people would decide to go out rowing, and if there was like an odd number, like the leftovers would be in their own boat.
Oh, so like the parts of the game they used was...
Yeah, because they're from other sports.
I was like, this sport reminds me nothing of rowing. I do not understand the analogy.
And pickleball was created with leftover equipment from other sports. Okay. I think this is probably a good time to talk about the equipment because I do not talk about the history of or the equipment at all in this story.
So, pickleball kind of takes place on a tennis court. And you have, it's like a ping pong paddle. And then you have a ball.
Lisa with the burn.
Okay, so I am wrong. She was doing something in her phone. I was like, what is she doing? She was looking for a sound effect. Okay, so feel free to correct me. What are the parts of pickleball?
Pickleball is, they have balls for indoor and outdoor, and they're different in what size holes and how many holes the wiffle ball has.
Okay. For like air drag, right?
Yes. And you have pickleball paddles that are honeycomb on the inside, and a good one is made with carbon on the outside, so it'll catch the spin on the ball.
Okay. Guess what kind of fancy paddle Lisa has?
The fanciest.
No, not the fanciest.
But she did order a fancy pickleball paddle.
I have one with the carbon, but it's not a real expensive one. And then it's about half the size of a tennis court, because you can get 2 pickleball courts out of 1 tennis court. And then you have the net in the middle.
And it's the same height as a tennis net, right?
I believe so.
Because it's lower than like a badminton net.
Yeah. Because I
higher.
think when they redo those tennis courts into pickleball courts, I think they just like turn them.
They turn
But they
them
use,
because
like,
it's the same width.
But I think they can use the same net.
Yeah, because like in our tennis court, where it used to be Lauren Grove, the tennis court is now 4 pickleball courts.
Yeah.
When they had, did they have 1 or 2 tennis courts there?
If there's 4 pickleball courts.
4 pickleball courts at Lauren Grove here.
Yeah,
I know,
it would
but
be 2
before
tennis
it was
courts.
a tennis court, 2 tennis courts.
Yeah, and tennis, not that it's fallen out of favor, but people just don't play it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean,
pickleball is just so much more popular.
I think tennis got expensive. It's a classist
it is.
sport.
And we don't
it's
have,
like being an equestrian.
I don't know if they had it when you were in high school, shortly after it was invented, but we don't have tennis teams here, like, in the schools.
No, when I was in high school, way back in the day, at the turn of the century, when I went to high school,
The late 1900s.
in the late 1900s, there was no tennis teams. They just started volleyball when I was a senior, so I had, like, 0 interest.
Oh,
in
wow,
it.
yeah.
It was track and basketball. That's what you
Okay.
had.
Yeah,
and
and
skiing, which is
I
what
think that's
did.
a big part of why people don't use the tennis courts. And we have a couple of them in the area. I mean, obviously the ones at Tech, that's kind of their own thing, but so repurposing them is good.
I'd like to point out that Lisa and I basically described the same thing.
Oh, yes. Just like when you speak French, Leah barely has to.
Yeah, like she barely has. I'm practically fluent.
Yes.
Okay, back to the story. The first dedicated court was constructed in 1967, and in 1968, Pickleball Inc. was created to promote the sport. Popularity continued to spread from the Pacific Northwest as snowbirds brought it to the warmer climates of Arizona, California, Hawaii, and Florida.
Well, that's why you like it so much. You are a snowbird in Arizona.
Yes, I am.
The first tournament was held in 1976, which was much earlier than I ever thought. This sport is actually much older than I ever thought because it's really only came into super mainstream popularity in the last several years.
I mean, there's a pickleball channel now.
And
Paula watches it.
I have too.
Of course you have.
And on Facebook, because you can get some good pointers.
You lunatic.
we also have to mention Lisa's outfit of the day.
She is wearing her official Copper Country Pickleball t-shirt.
Yeah.
Because she's on the league here.
Yeah. The United
Pickleball have levels too, right? So it's not just like everybody plays the same, because how many levels are there?
Well, normally people say it goes from half a point, 0.5 up to 4.0. But if you're really, really, really good,
Like the professionals.
they're higher than a 4.0.
So where are you right now?
3.5.
Oh,
Lisa.
fancy. Like, do they have negative ratings? Because I feel like that's where I would be.
No, that's where I started.
Because when I would go and like try to learn with her in the summer, I'd go, and I was really good at like rocketing it to either side because we didn't have two people. So I'd throw it to one side, she'd have to run, and then I'd hit it to the other side, and she'd have to run, and then I'd rocket it over the fence.
Venus out there on the court.
I'm a natural.
You're something. The United States Amateur Pickleball Association was formed in 1984, and in 2019, 2 professional tours were created. The Association of Pickleball Professionals, which is now called the Association of Pickleball Players, and that is a sanctioned tour by USA Pickleball, which is the USA governing body, just like USA Hockey, USA whatever. And the Pickleball Professionals Association, which is not sanctioned by USA Pickleball.
Oh, is there a war going on?
I don't know. I think they're just kind of doing their own thing.
Okay. I mean, it's like any game, it's just made up. And these are just organizations trying to make money.
Yeah, you pay your dues and
Yeah.
whatever. So in 2009, retiree and pickleball enthusiast Rodney Rocket Grubbs.
And this isn't one of the guys who made it.
No.
Okay.
Nope, he's just an enthusiast. And I'm going to refer to him as Rocket in the rest of the story.
Is that guy
That
right
is,
there?
because I
Okay.
think it's hilarious that his pickleball name is Rocket. He founded All About Pickleball LLC, which does business as Pickleball Rocks, an apparel and equipment supply company for pickleball based in his native Indiana.
Oh, he's in Indiana.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Have you ever purchased anything from Pickleball Rocks?
No.
Okay.
Now I'm going to have to go look online and find this. But I mean, I don't know the end of the story. It might not be a thing anymore.
Rocket became the literal rock star of the pickleball world and was at one time dubbed the ultimate ambassador of the sport.
That guy
That guy,
right there was the rock star of the pickleball world. See, I stand by the second AI picture I made of you then because it's a real banger, and I'm going to post it on the website.
Yeah, and we'll post Rocket's picture on our website too, buzzandbaffled.net, and you can see what this absolute rock star looks like.
This hottie.
Yeah. So he's the ambassador of the sport. Like, he is the face of pickleball. And as he's going around meeting players at tournaments around the country and throughout the world, he convinces some of them to invest in his business, Pickleball Rocks. And how he did this was he would issue unsecured promissory notes.
That sounds great.
Usually for $25,000, promising a 12% return.
I feel like this is going to be along the lines of our wine guy who was like selling counterfeit wine.
And how this would work is you would give me $25,000 and I would give you a promissory note saying in 18 months I'm going to give you a 12% return on your $25,000 compounded monthly.
See, the thing is, Kyla's much better with money than me, and if she told me if I gave her $25,000 I would get a 12% return, I would believe her, and I would just hand her $25,000.
And what it works out to be is about a $4,900 return. So they're getting almost $30,000 back after the 18 months.
Well, it's not terrible. I mean, that's better than the CD, isn't it? Like in the bank? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's much shorter term. If he defaulted, the note called for an 18% return. So it was in his best interest to make sure he was making those return payments on time.
But if he defaults, that means he doesn't have the money. So how the fuck are you going to give an 18% return when you can't pay 12?
There's also that.
That's dumb. Those people get what they deserve.
In 2016, Melody and Greg Woodsum met Rocket at a tournament in Florida, and they became friends. The next year, Rocket presented them with his investment pitch, saying they would be one of 5 or 6 people investing in the ground level of Pickleball Rocks, giving an air of exclusivity and urgency, saying, things like, hey, I only got 1 slot left, you gotta get in now.
He was pyramid scheming this shit at this point. Lisa, what would you do if you were at Pickleball, either at Lauren Grove or in Arizona, and someone came up and said, do I have a deal of the century for you? Give me $25,000 to buy part of Pickleball LLC.
I would laugh and walk away.
What would Bink do if somebody came to him and said that?
He would think about it.
Okay, so just want everyone to know what we're working with here.
He swears his investors to secrecy, saying he would do that so his competitors wouldn't find out his funding source for his business. Knowing that pickleball was on the rise, this was back in 2017, the Woodsums agreed to invest along with many others. In 2018, Oklahoma-based pickleball referee Ron Ponder, that's a real name.
It doesn't seem like a real name.
Was at a tournament in Italy when he first met Rocket and ended up investing $65,000 with him.
So when you say the name Ron Ponder, do you remember that weird little hobbity porn star from the 80s?
Ron Jeremy?
Yes, that's who I think of when you say Ron Ponder. Does he look anything like Ron Jeremy?
I don't have a picture, but I think I did see a picture of him when I was doing my research, and no, I don't.
That's disappointing. Maybe I'll just put a picture of Ron Jeremy up there and say it's Ron Ponder. It's not like anyone's checking our facts.
We don't have any money, so.
Yeah, good luck getting blood from a stone.
Speaking of which, we need to form our LLC just in case.
When we get that Botobox money. We probably have to start drinking Botobox on here again to really get them to pay attention to us.
To keep the money flowing, he would often claim to his friends that one of his investors was cashing out and he was looking for a new person to replace them, or that the business was expanding and he wanted to add additional investors.
Let's get smooth.
Over time, he gathers more than 500 creditors across the USA and around the world. Those 500 creditors, how much money do you think? So 500 people, and some gave $25,000, some gave much, much more. Well, not gave, but...
So 25, you know how good I am at math.
You are. I'm just going to tell you this number.
No, hold on. Let's see if I can do it. So how many people?
500 creditors over time. So 500 investors.
So like 25, so like 4 is 100,000, right? No, 10,000. No.
You were right with 100,000.
Well, okay, it's like I'm getting there. My patients are going to think I'm the dumbest person on the planet. Like we're taking advice from this woman.
What classes do you teach again?
I teach statistics. But this isn't a t-test, guy. We're not talking about variables and whether there's a relationship or a difference. We're just talking basic adding and subtracting and multiplication.
And to be fair, this isn't a linear thing.
Yeah. But 100, so 25, so we're at 100,000, and at 500 people, we're like 5 million?
$47 million in investments.
So close.
You were getting there. And that's why I said it wasn't linear, because it's not an equal.
What Kyla's saying is we do not have the time for me to try to work this out in the air as she sees me, like, putting the numbers down and, like, carrying the one.
Doing your air math.
The same way that I figure out directions.
Yeah, $47 million over time in investments.
This is like a Ponzi scheme.
Nicole, do you remember when I said...
If I have an idea, don't share it? Maybe I'll listen to that someday.
Someday.
She's like, hope springs eternal.
And you always do it, like, right when my next sentence is the exact same thing you just said.
It's like I have a gift.
It's like you snuck in here and read my story.
I have a superpower, and it's ruining Kyla's story.
When it came time to pay up, however, the problem started. Rocket would make excuses, especially during COVID when he blamed the pandemic, about why he couldn't honor those promissory notes. He would offer...
That's a legal problem right there.
So what he would do is, I can't pay you, but what I'll do is I'll roll this over into a new promissory note. He was running a Ponzi scheme.
I was right. It's Nicole's favorite thing.
He's using money from the new investors to pay the people who had already invested with
You
him.
play a game of crime. That is what you're doing.
One investor, Terry Seward, had given Rocket $25,000 in 2019. She became suspicious when Rocket missed yet another payment deadline in September 2019. And she would go to tournaments, and she began to ask other players about him because he was, the universal ambassador. Everyone knew who he was.
Well, and if he's the face of pickleball, people aren't going to feel comfortable being like, do you think this is legit? This seems iffy.
The very first person she asked burst into tears and said Rocket had taken her money and refused to give it back. Terry, out here doing God's work, did what we should all do, started a Facebook group called, quote, From Pickleball Rocks to Prison Rocks, end quote, to spread awareness of Rocket's scam, and the stories started pouring in.
I love that. So, like, unrelated thing, but, like, around COVID time, there was this fitness influencer named Brittany Dawn, and she was, like, selling personalized workout routines. And obviously, they weren't. And she was, like, taking, like, from people who didn't have money, she's taking hundreds and hundreds of dollars. The state of Texas ended up suing her. And now she's, like, a Jesus blogger.
Of course. That is the natural next step.
And her husband is a police officer who was kicked off the force.
Wonder why.
For battery.
Oh, well.
Not completely related, but reminds me.
Mm-hmm. Shortly after she starts this Facebook group, Rocket sends her a $50,000 payment and said it was for her initial $25,000 investment plus interest and penalties. So the Facebook group worked, at least for Terry. The next day, Terry contacts an attorney who now represents more than 300 clients with claims against Rocket.
Damn.
Some going back to the early 2000s. So he's been doing this for well before most people started even knowing what pickleball was.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing that this kind of scam is not his first rodeo. Like, I feel like he's been doing this a long time.
In December 2023, a group of his creditors forced him into involuntary bankruptcy, which I did not know was a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know.
So I had to look into it a little bit more. Obviously, in my job, I deal with people who file bankruptcy all the time. It's part of the work that I do. That's voluntary bankruptcy. I never realized there was involuntary bankruptcy, but if you have a group of creditors that kind of class action suit you because you haven't paid them, the bankruptcy court will force you into bankruptcy and force you to restructure those debts and start making those payments. That was a little something interesting that I learned.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. During the bankruptcy proceedings, Rocket claimed assets of only $1.6 million, but debt of nearly $47 million. Which is shockingly the same amount that he had collected over the years. And when you file bankruptcy, there's something called the meeting of creditors, and the creditors file and say, he owes me this much, he owes me that much, and you can, like, go to this hearing. Most people just submit their paperwork, but you can actually go there.
Well, because, like, you work in loans and mortgage, and so most people file bankruptcy willingly to try to, like, get out of something.
Yeah, I've never seen involuntary bankruptcy with a home mortgage. Like I said, I didn't even know it was a thing. So at the meeting of creditors during the bankruptcy hearing, his investors showed up and they confronted him, demanding to know where the money went and attempting to find where his assets were so creditors could be repaid. And when you file bankruptcy, you have to list all of your assets. They do calculations that say, starting in 2 months, you have to pay creditor ABC $1,000 a month, creditor XYZ. It's all split out and broken down. But if you lie about your assets, the amounts that get paid out are much less. Also, it's a federal crime to lie about your assets. So don't do that.
Well, no, because I see people who are like, well, I just guesstimated when, like, the credit card said, what's my income? I'm like, no, girl, you gotta say whatever your tax return was. Like, if you made $40,000, you can't guesstimate 60.
No, you could lowball it. Like, if you made 40, you could say I made 35 if you couldn't remember exactly, but you can't go up because that's a big problem.
No.
Rocket was asked about the $35,000 in checks he wrote to himself, potential offshore accounts, contents of lockboxes held by the bank, jewelry.
Lockboxes? But you're like a pickleball. Like, what kind of lockbox could you possibly have?
Safety deposit box where it's just like cash and...
But I'm like, does he have like fancy paddles in there? like the super carbon paddles? Like, what does he have in there?
Gold-plated paddles.
No, this one. I should like, you got a lockbox. I should go see if you have like gold-plated paddles in there.
I can't say.
She can't say.
There's the sapphire ring that I can't have until you die. But she's like, guess what? I sold that ring to buy the gold-plated paddle.
Your inheritance is a gold-plated.
She's out there just like, ding.
Boy, this is heavy.
It's a solid gold. It's not even gold plated. It's a solid gold paddle.
Look at my forearm.
I mean, she does have some guns. Look at her.
They asked about his bank accounts and his use of quitclaim deeds to shuffle property around. In January 2024, he was given a cease and desist from the State of Indiana Securities Division, barring him from issuing any additional promissory notes. They're just fed up. I mean, this guy clearly is violating the law, so I'm actually surprised it took that long for them to be like, hey, what the hell?
Yeah.
Rocket says that the $47 million in debt was accrued interest on loans from the early 2000s when he was investing in real estate and that he lost a lot of money during the recession. He claims he never issued a loan he didn't intend to repay.
Bullshit.
Don't they all?
Where's that button?
And he claims that the value of Pickleball Rocks, his apparel and gear company, has been diminished by coordinated attacks on him by his investors, and that he would be easily able to pay them back if Pickleball Rocks was allowed to remain open. So he's blaming his investors for being mad that they're not being paid on why he can't pay them.
I'm waiting for him to try to go public and make like extra money on this.
There are also text messages between Rocket and Ron Ponder, who's the ref he met in Italy, stating that the events leading to his downfall were the work of Satan. And I have a copy of that text up there.
Oh,
we'll post
Lisa,
it on.
grab that.
We'll post it on Buzz and Baffled as well.
I'll do a narration for
Oh
us.
yeah, we could do.
As a professional,
Do you want to be Ron Ponder or Rocket?
I'll let our guest choose. Which one's Rocket? Rodney Grubbs. So do you want to be him or do you want to be Rocket?
Oh, I have to read one?
Yep. You be this one. I'll be Rocket.
Dramatic. Yeah, you should be Rocket.
Okay.
Okay,
So
Lisa's
this
gonna
is
be Ron
December
Ponder.
14th, 2023, so not that long ago.
But seriously, how do you sleep at night? How could you do this to your family?
I don't know what your personal beliefs are, but I believe that there is a Satan and there's a coincidence and...
Coincidental.
I don't know what your personal beliefs are, but I believe that there is a Satan and the coincidental things that have been happening to me over the last 6 weeks have been absolutely unbelievable. Someday, I hope we get to sit down and I can share my whole story with you.
Unfortunately, I cannot put my site out on Facebook because the negative people will just continue to shoot it down. The fire is too big right now. That Scott and Terry C were set in motion.
I'm sorry, but we have over 50 friends you scammed, so...
You guys switched in the middle.
Oh, no! We did!
Yeah, that's okay. We'll post the full thing on Joseph Bethel, but basically,
Oh, I was going every other.
Yep.
basically,
No, so Ron Ponders, like, how can you sleep at night? Rodney Grubbs is defending himself, saying it's not my fault, I can't put it out on Facebook.
yeah, it's the work of Satan.
And then he's like, I'm sorry, but we now have 50 friends you scammed, so they didn't set in motion, you did. Absolutely worthless talking to someone with no conscience, so let's end it here.
Yeah.
We did. Do you see where I get it from?
No, it's totally fair. You had zero rehearsal, and they weren't color-coded on who was who.
That is also true. She printed it in black and white.
I mean, you wouldn't have seen it anyways, but...
Well, no, because typically there's, like,
No.
blue...
No. There's two texts from Rocket in a row, and
I'm trying to defend my mother here.
Well, I'm completely blaming you for this, so...
Well, that's fair. I do take the blame.
Okay, I'll let you.
Rocket tries to save face by bringing on the former president of USA Pickleball as an investor, and then makes a big public show of paying him back. Like, oh, see? No, I pay people back. Here's your big check, Pickleball president. Let's take pictures.
Let's get this on camera.
He's also admitted he didn't keep good accounting records and used an Excel spreadsheet to track his investors and the promissory notes, which I believe.
I will say, as a business owner, I do not use an Excel spreadsheet to track everything. I have an EMR that tracks things so that I don't lose things. And I also have an accountant who looks at things for me so that I am not responsible for math.
Which is a good thing. Rocket said he tried to use QuickBooks, but it was always off.
Well, yeah, because it's telling you owe people like $100 million and you don't even have $47 million.
Yeah. So, there we go with so. Oh, I did try to do very good, but...
Like, flick her with your whiskey.
With the whiskey in my hand. Included in the list of creditors against Rocket are his 2 adult sons and their wives. Which kind of seems like there's some kind of family following. Oh, and I do want to go back to the text messages really quick. I didn't put it in here explicitly, but Rocket was described as he and his wife were church-going people, the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah. You know who else was a church-going person? Our serial killer from Houghton County.
And, yeah, give you the shirt off the back. And, the picture of him, he looks like...
Well, he looks like a grandpa.
Just like a nice, genial grandpa, someone who...
He looks like a nice guy who likes to go play pickleball. He looks derpy.
Yeah, he kind of looks golden retriever-ish. Just like someone who would,
like
you know, be sweeping the pickleball courts for everybody in the morning, and just seems like
But that's how you scam people, because you look approachable. Like, Bundy wouldn't get you into the car if he seemed threatening.
His 2 adult sons and their wives are in the list of creditors, so he owes them money. Both sons, and this was...
Wait, his adult sons?
His adult sons.
So he screwed his kids over. Lisa would never do that to me.
Yeah.
She would never pull me into a scam and steal $25,000 from me.
Absolutely not.
Both of his sons worked for All About Pickleball, get this, as 1099 employees.
No.
So, they were not even W-2 employees. They were independent contractors at their dad's company.
So were they actually getting paid, though? Because, or was he just telling them what they were getting paid, but then they weren't actually getting paid, but they still owe the taxes on the 1099 stuff? I got a lot of questions here.
Sometimes, and this might answer some of your questions, sometimes one son would get paid, but not the other, because there wasn't enough cash flow to go around.
Of course there wasn't.
And his excuse why one son would get paid and not the other
Because
is...
he liked him more?
His son Zach has a 2-income household, while his son Josh was a sole provider, so Josh would get paid and Zach wouldn't.
That's like when you're at work and and you're a single woman, and they say, well, Bob over there has a family, so we're going to give him the raise and the promotion because he needs to support them. Meanwhile, you're doing all the work.
That's exactly what it's like. Yep.
I'm also going to guess that the second son plays a role in his downfall somehow because he's unhappy about it.
In December 2024, which is just a few months ago, the FBI raided Rocket's home and executed a search warrant.
Good for them.
So now we've moved on to a federal case. Before it was just the state of Indiana, which
at that point, they were above the income guidelines in which, like, it's like $2,000 is a federal crime or something like that.
before it's just the Indiana's version of the SEC or whatever, their Securities and Investment.
I do have to remember that this is Indiana, and, like, things just work a little different down in Indiana.
There have been motions filed with the court to sell Rocket's rental properties in Ohio and Kentucky and to auction the remaining Pickleball Rocks inventory. Shortly before being forced into bankruptcy, he issued about $80,000 in repayments to some investors. And I don't know how he picked and chose. I'm assuming it's the people he wanted on his side.
Well, yeah, he definitely picked the ones. He was like, they're going to give me a character witness statement or something.
Or he picked his loudest critics like he did with Terry Seward, who started the Facebook group, and...
I mean, that would be the smart way to go. Like, the people who were kicking and screaming the most. Like, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
And this was right before the court said, no, you have to go into bankruptcy. So what the bankruptcy court has done has since demanded that these $80,000 in payments come back so they can be appropriately distributed to his creditors.
I would be so pissed. Like, because also, can they do that? Because the people who got the money probably spent it. If you come back to me, let's say I get a tax refund in 2022. And the government comes back in 2025 and says, just kidding, we need that money back. I'm like, I got bad news for you. That money's gone.
And I had to dig a little more into this as I was learning about involuntary bankruptcy. Bankruptcy trustees, who are the people who oversee your case once it's gone through the courts, review the 90-day period prior to bankruptcy. So you file bankruptcy on January 1st. They can go back 90 days from that to review anything that you've done prior to that to make sure you're not trying to hide assets.
So what I learned from this is if I want to hide assets, I have to do it like 180 days before so that they can't find it.
You gotta play the long game.
Play the long game. Okay. I'm going to tuck that behind my ear.
And the bankruptcy code actually allows for this clawback of funds to ensure the debtor isn't given preferential treatment over creditors.
Hold on, Lisa's phone is ringing.
Hollywood over there.
I'm like, she's fancy and she's got people who need to talk to her. She's like, it's
probably Rocket calling.
No, she's like, it's just my husband. I don't need to talk to him. Silence.
2 of the payees have agreed to return the funds in exchange for a lesser amount. So they're saying, I'll give you my $25,000 back as long as I get $20,000 back as a creditor.
I wish that I had enough liquid assets that I'm like, that's fine. I'll give you $25,000 back if I get to it, so I only have to give you $5,000.
The others are fighting it, which I don't blame them. They had nothing to do with him being forced into bankruptcy.
I got scammed. I'm pissed that you're trying to take this money back.
Yeah, this is a private transaction. It's not my fault he sucks at whatever he does. So, I mean, I would fight it too.
Yeah, I would fight it. But now they have to pay for lawyers to fight that. So, like, I'm sure that whatever $25,000 they got back is gone because it's going to go in lawyer fees.
And what they're doing is they're pooling his assets and splitting it out to pay.
Although, right now, the federal government might be otherwise occupied and not have the patience or the funds to worry about this because they have other lawsuits they need to pay attention to.
As of May 28th, 2025, no criminal charges have been filed.
So that's insane. See, I thought for sure this was going to be a murder, and it's not.
I know, and I think
It
you
might
posted
be.
stuff about murder. It's
I
not a
did.
murder.
I'm so sorry. Our 20 listeners.
I did see that. I was like, ooh, this isn't about murder.
In time, it might be about.
I mean, it might. Like, the story's not over yet. So sorry, our fellow listeners. Like,
So,
I thought it was
as
going to be
of
murder. It's just
yeah.
financial crimes.
6 weeks ago-ish, no criminal charges have been filed. And you have to remember, this has been going on since some people were in the early 2000s that he's been doing this, and there's still no criminal charges
I
filed.
got a lot of questions. So, like, he's being charged, but what about the wife? How much did she know? Like, is this a case of, I let this idiot manage the finances, and so I'm just, like, along for the ride? Or was I part of it?
Well, he probably showed her his Excel spreadsheet, was like, everything's fine.
She's a boomer, so probably she had no idea what was going on.
Oh, I take offense.
Also sorry to her aunt, who is probably also a boomer and is our #1 fan. It's not you, lady. You're good.
And Cindy, that's for you.
Cindy, this isn't directed at you. We love you.
In a recent hearing, Rocket waived the ability to have his debts discharged through Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which was very surprising to me, so he will still be on the hook with his investors. So when you file Chapter 7, what it does is it's saying you don't have any assets, there's no way you can pay.
Does he just have a shitty accountant who didn't tell him what to do?
Well, no, I don't know, because when you file Chapter 13, it's, you have to pay. You pay your debts back, whether it's for a smaller negotiated amount, but it's usually over 5 years, and it's this whole thing, and you get, like, it takes time, but you get your money.
Yeah.
And it goes in order of priority, of course. So, you know, the small credit card you have, anything that's secured is going to get paid first, like your mortgage, a car loan. Those creditors all
So
get
in
paid
those
first.
scenarios, so this is Chapter 13, you said?
So he was an so he claimed
That was the one where that it
Chapter
was,
Chapter
so
13.
Chapter 13, if you file that, do you get to, like, keep the house and the car?
Yes.
Because eventually it's going to get paid off.
Yes.
But is interest not accruing then? How does this work?
No, it's all when someone files Chapter 13 and we service their mortgage loan, we do this whole big calculation about how much they owe us, like how far back they are, and sometimes people are current on their mortgage loan, but they filed bankruptcy for a different debt, whether it's a medical debt or some other debt.
Oh, you can do it on specific debts.
So all your debts are included, but the mortgage might not be the reason you're filing the bankruptcy. Chapter 7 is claiming that you don't have any assets or any way to pay, and usually those debts just get discharged and you're no longer responsible for
Like
them.
the credit card and stuff like that.
The credit card is gone, like,
Like the mortgage, the car payment, those kind of things.
yeah, and the thing with the mortgage is you are not responsible for paying. I should say your debt has been discharged, but also if you stop paying, we can foreclose on your home.
Okay, so there's
So we
an
can't-
incentive.
We can't try to collect, but if you don't continue paying, you don't just get to live in the house for free if you file Chapter 7
So look
bankruptcy,
at
is what
that,
I'm
people.
getting to.
This is not legal advice, but it's educational.
And yeah, I don't know why he waived the ability to have his debts discharged. Maybe he's trying to do the right thing, but I mean, it's a little late now.
I'm guessing probably not, because if you take $42 million from people, the right thing isn't on your radar.
The judge has also said that investors can now pursue repayment outside of the bankruptcy court process, so they can sue him in civil court.
Kind of like how OJ got sued. Like, he was found innocent, but he was hit with civil lawsuits. So anything from the book was, like, taken from him.
And according to court documentation, his son Zach, the one who had the 2-income household, has claimed over $964,000 as a creditor, saying his dad owes him that much. And Josh, who was the single-income household, is claiming $250,000.
Good. They should tell him to suck it.
As of June 3rd, 2025, the bankruptcy trustee is requesting, and I spent some time reading these actual bankruptcy documents because they're all available. They're on Pacer, your new favorite website.
I got Pacer access. I'm so excited. I could look at federal cases now.
The bankruptcy,
Unstoppable.
the trustee is requesting that Zach and Josh, his 2 sons, withdraw these claims because they were already paid for their work at Pickleball Rocks based on bank records showing transfers of funds for work done. And if they get rid of these claims, it would put a combined $1.2 million back into the pool to pay creditors.
Well, so the question is though, like, is it a bank record from the bank or is it an Excel spreadsheet?
It's from the bank, so
Because if the bank shows that I paid this person $200,000, they got paid. So the sons would be scammers too then if they're trying to claim they didn't get paid. But I'm guessing that, like, Christmas is awkward at the Rocket household.
the Rocket household, the Grubbs household. And as of when I wrote this story a month ago or whatever, the case was still active. So that's all still in flux. This is all still up in the air. There's unless it's happened in the last 4 weeks or so, there's no criminal charges filed. The bankruptcy proceedings are still going on.
That's insane. Like, there should be criminal charges filed, not just civil charges.
And
does this mean I'm allowed to make a Ponzi scheme and just, like, go and do whatever I want?
yeah, and you just get a notice from the state of Michigan that's like, knock it off.
They're like, stop it.
So I don't know what because you have to remember it was only 8 months ago or so that the FBI raided his house and executed a search warrant. I'm assuming they're going through and doing forensic auditing of his bank accounts and stuff, and there's going to be federal criminal charges coming down.
That takes a while, right, to follow the money. That's not an instantaneous thing. And like I said, the federal government is a little otherwise occupied right now, trying to deal with the ICE stuff, the immigration stuff, all the lawsuits about the executive orders. So, like, all the lawyers are very busy trying to deal with these are not small problems, bigger problems.
And this is purely conjecture, but perhaps the massive layoffs that have occurred in some of the governmental departments.
Well, yesterday,
delayed.
was it like 1,200 people were laid off yesterday? Was it the Department of Justice, actually?
State, but...
Yeah, the Department of State. So that's going to... 1,200 people were laid off at 4:30 in the afternoon on a Friday.
That's when they do it.
Yeah. And I don't know if these, if perhaps the IRS is who's doing these audits. I'm assuming, like, FBI agents working in conjunction with... Because everyone gets nailed on tax fraud.
Well,
like, that's the easiest way to get to.
And here I am, paying my quarterly business taxes like a punk. Being a responsible person.
You just need to start your Ponzi scheme.
Yep, like,
Get your clients to invest.
I would never do that. That's awful.
Well, if you're already doing a Ponzi scheme, it's only one more step.
Yeah, like, I'm never going to take my therapist clients, my traumatized therapist clients, and be like, give me $25,000. Like, first of all, they don't have $25,000, and I would never, ever do that. I will tell them to buy a book on Amazon, but it's not like I get any kickbacks from that.
It's not your personally written book.
It's not my book. It is a book from the Boundary Lady who I really like. And I'm like, and if you hit it at a sale, it's $14.
Is it Brené Brown?
It is not. I do like Brené Brown.
I do too.
But she has a name, and it's a very ethnic name, and I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah,
so
you should probably just stop.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stop while I'm ahead.
But that's the story of the Pickleball Swindler, and I'll continue to watch the news, and maybe at some point we'll do an update on this.
Oh, like, we're going to have to be in a group chat. Like, all of a sudden Lisa and I are going to get, like, this text about, like...
I should actually set up a Google alert for his name, so anytime something comes up.
Yeah, I've been playing pickleball for over 3 years, and this is the first I've heard of it. I can't believe that there's all this criminal activity.
Around such like a fun thing to do. People gotta ruin everything.
Is this another example of Nicole ruins everything?
No.
Because I'm actually really good at it.
Yes, you are.
Well, I hope we don't end up having to do a Pickleball Swindler Part 2 where it's Lisa's in jail for swindling.
Lisa's like, that's a good idea. $25,000 from everyone at
I just gave you the blueprint on how to do it, so.
That would entail me talking to people.
That is true.
You could just rocket him in the face with the pickleball.
But because you did good, because you just got up and started playing pickleball and talking to people, that was the win.
Yes.
Nice work.
It was very difficult.
Yeah.
And she's almost a master pickleball player.
Yeah,
She's got
I was like
4.5.
4.5.
She's gonna play with lowly me anymore.
3.5 out of 4.
She doesn't want to play with lowly me anymore. Not the hiccups.
Well, you better get some peanut butter.
Hey,
That's early for you to have hiccups. You only have like 1.5 glasses of wine.
I know. I had a sub sandwich earlier today, so the bread's probably getting to me. I'm gonna go have her non-Jif peanut butter.
Are you really judging my free peanut butter?
100% judging.
It's all the same, first of all.
My friend Angel will tell you I judge her non-Heinz ketchup.
Okay, that's fair though.
I went to a barbecue. I was like, what's with the generic ketchup? And she was like, oh my god. And to this day, when she tells me when she goes to the store, she hears that comment in her head and she buys Heinz ketchup.
I don't even know how other companies like Hunt's are still in business. One time...
Oh, she had great value. It wasn't even Hunt's.
No, that's like
I'm talking about you, Angel Bates.
Shout out Angel.
corn syrup ketchup.
It's like, is there a tomato in this even?
We went to my dad's house for some event, some weekend. I don't know if it was Labor Day or whatever. My sister and I were both there. And we were going to have some cereal in the morning. And he bought unfrosted shredded wheat.
Why? Does he hate his throat and his intestines? Does he just want to shred everything because it's got to be so dry?
Because of course he was up before we were, and he was out in the yard probably doing whatever. We came in, we just ripped on him. He's like, I know, I bought it on accident. I didn't mean to.
Was he wearing the hair extensions he stole from me?
And he also had his straw hat on, which is now being replaced by his fan hat.
Because when I get there, I 100% think I'm going to find my hair extensions in his house somewhere because he's been wearing them as his air guitar.
You're going to feel really bad when you open some bag at the back of the
I'm like,
closet.
I've been dragging Tom
And
for
you've
the
just
air
been slandering my dad that he's wearing your blonde halo hair extensions.
He just wants to feel it blowing in the wind.
I would say shout out Dad, but he literally has no idea what a podcast even is, and I had to explain it to him last
But
week.
Dale's listening, so she knows.
But that's Pickleball Swindler, and I was actually pretty fascinated in that. I mean, I know it wasn't super much like Pickleball, but it's Pickleball adjacent, because that's how he found his victims.
This is one of the few crime ones we do that's not murder. Because it's like, it's either something very weird, or it's murder.
Yeah, and I try to do like a weird, like, light it up a little bit.
I don't. I'm straight murder all the way through.
I found it very interesting.
Yeah.
So she's going to be thinking about this as she's out there dinking in the kitchen or whatever it is you do up there.
You got it right.
Did I get it right?
No buzzer for you.
No, because like if the front square is the kitchen and you're dinking in the kitchen and that gets it right over the net.
Us dinking in the kitchen is clinking our glasses.
Dink!
It's the kitchen or the no volley zone.
Oh.
Okay. So, next time will be my story. And I got a real banger.
I'm sure you do.
I had to break up the religious stories because I had
Because you had a couple in a row.
I had a couple in a row. I was like, ooh, this is getting too much. But I got a real banger coming up next, guys. Okay, so we'll see you next week. Stay salty, people.